So apart from the petrodollar collapsing or big change in system, I want to talk now more about the new. So, okay, when you talk about something new, it's too difficult to define what's coming exactly. It's too difficult to say what exactly is coming and also how quickly it develops. So all I can do is just put out some very basic tracks of what could happen. So for 23, 24, we have this chaos period with the destruction of the old, the petrodollar, this kind of system, which where we grew up, and we have to now face the end of it. It also coincides with the opening up of a new cycle. I mentioned about Africa. This is a long-term cycle. And so the US and Africa connection, but for sure it will involve positively also other countries. And in the short term, so maybe equatorial countries, that's a very rough speculation I can say, in the sense that usually equatorial countries, they're abundant in resources. They have a good climate, so they don't have the issue of heating. Maybe the issue of AC, but I think life goes on even with air conditioning. So, but anyway, there are countries that are abundant. Maybe they won't have, like in Sri Lanka, most of the media talking about food crisis. That's mainly about non-essential goods, like they call it essential, like milk and vegetable oil is essential, but that's a very honestly, that's not essential food. For me, essential food is anything that is edible and you continue living. And I think Sri Lanka, I went there recently, and they're abundant in fruits, but most people, they think they cannot live without eating rice, or they cannot live eating fried foods or milk. So anyway, my talk now is more about the new emerging, and this is coincidental also with the Pluto entering the Aquarius sign. That will so Pluto will enter Aquarius in April 23, and it will stay there for first degree. It will stay there for a couple months, then it will go back to retrograde and into Capricorn again, and it will almost go to the US point chart, but it will be it will be a degree over that, so it won't go back anymore on the US independence chart on that exact spot. But anyway, it will still go retrograde. It will still go to the Capricorn for the rest of 23 and for early 24. So that's a time where I suspect that there is still, the chaos, the wealth transfers going on, all the adaptation to a new system. I said even for US and Africa anyway, it will be very turbulent times, because we're talking of colossal shifts in economic terms, in trade, in visa policies, in everything relating global trade and global economic finance politics. So it will be chaos times. So at least until early 24, for sure won't be nice anywhere. But and again, Pluto will go back to Aquarius. So from early 2024, the Pluto in Aquarius, I think that's a cycle of about 15 or 18 years. I don't remember exact the years, but it's quite a long term. And it also means basically Pluto is associated with power. It's associated also with big money wanting to go somewhere. And Aquarius is about innovation. It's about, I explained very well about the age of Aquarius. I explained about the characteristic of Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. So all those characteristics of Aquarius, it's about technology, it's about science, it's about innovation, but it has unstable qualities because it's about the new, it's about innovation. So it's all stuff that needs to be tested. It's all about new stuff that will emerge as a way to like new companies, new ideas, new projects that want to challenge the old, and but they are at the initial phase, so they will somehow, it's a testing period. It will be ripe with failures too. So you will have many projects popping up or maybe already existing, but they will also fail because they're trying. It's like a startup company. They may have a great idea, but there are many ways they can fail, and especially in turbulent times, it's very unpredictable how things go. But anyway, so you have this infusion of innovation going as a way to start to build something new to counteract the destruction of the old system, and. So Aquarius means also any kind of innovation, very intellectual pursuits, maybe even new kind of philosophical ideas popping up. You have some kind of Aquarius is associated with ideologies, usually also with the idea how societies should be structured. So there could be more arguments about how this society should be structured. I think there will be more arguments hinting towards this kind of feminine society. Maybe they will give it a name. Maybe I don't know how things will play out, but there will be more conscious talks about how this new society will form. And of course, it's a time ripe with many projects starting to offer solutions to the problems coming. So I'd say 2023 is very chaotic. It's very material. It's about the destruction. Then 24, still, let's say early 24, it's still a bit gloomy. It's very dark. Again, people are confused. They don't know what to do. It's all about talking about money. It's talking about basic needs, the material needs of people. But then from spring 24, we will have this kind of infusion of new things, a bit more hope coming about new stuff emerging, and but still all 2024 is still chaotic, but there is more hope, there is more reaction from people wanting to solve things and to build. It's not about repairing, it's about building something. Then from 2025, 2026, that's the time when the real interesting stuff will come from the new, and also that marks the time when Uranus will go into Gemini. I had mentioned about that Uranus in Gemini cycle, which is again a 7-year cycle. That gives me hints that there is going to be a reform on the education system. So everything to do with how kids learn has to do with schools, and there will be big talk. It's a big trend, and so this is like the next big thing coming, in the sense like blockchain was the next big thing for the previous cycle. So, blockchain started in 2008, but the real cycle happening for blockchain to materialize is 2019 to 2025. So education, if you want to know what's the next big thing, in my opinion, is all about education, about the idea how should kids learn. Okay, Gemini is also associated with forms of communication, but I think I think the main topic of starting from 25, 26 is all about teaching kids how to learn, how to think, and it makes sense because we'll now have a destruction phase, and we will have material repercussions of everything, and all this will have consequences on the way we think about education. People will reconsider. I think a better term is they will really throw out what they think about schools, or what they learn from school, what parents have been teaching to kids. I could speculate basically nothing. The parents mainly, they just dump kids at school. They say get a good grade and then get a job, go to college, blah blah blah, and that's mainly what parents do in current times. So it's going to be a very positive change for education, in the sense, after this crisis, people will be more conscious. They will start to think about what inputs are kids having during their growing stage. So I think first reaction, most people will pull out kids out of school. They will have attempts to homeschool them, and I don't think it's not a really successful path, in my opinion, but because again, the homeschool is a very good principle, but I don't think most parents are really, they're not good teachers. Sorry if I'm mean saying that. But anyway, we will have the internet, and I think that's the key tool for kids to learn. Now, we're talking about something new. I don't know how this will manifest, but I think many people will lose the job now with these bad years. But I think there are many good people, many valid people. They want to offer, maybe they're jobless, they need an income, but also they're very competent people. I think these people, and the big trend from 2025, 2026 is about these people offering maybe online courses, online education for kids, or somehow they will group up and offer some kind of online schools to the global society. So every person has its own competence, everyone has its own ideas about the subjects, whether if it's math or okay. Anyway, I usually Gemini is about early education, so this is like primary school. It's more about primal education, so it's stuff that it's it's more like teaching basic stuff to kids. It's not much about university or having a high kind of or a higher kind of education. So anyway, so you have this Uranus in Gemini cycle, which is coupled with the Pluto in Aquarius. So you have this dynamic. It's called the trine, and a trine meaning there's 120 degrees between Uranus and Pluto, and these two planets will have a very beneficial and strong effect to society in taking this kind of it's an intellectual pursuit. So usually air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and the Libra, they're air signs. They're more associated with intellectual pursuits. It's more about the mind. It's more about the thinking on an intellectual perspective. And so 25, 26, the people will become. They will be more focused on that topic of how the mind thinks, how kids should learn, how we process information. Also, Gemini is associated with the media, so there will be total challenge on how the media works. For sure, I could speculate it's the end of the mainstream media, and but also the way we think about alternative media will be shaped up deeply, because I think it's all related to stuff emerging, after when things start um, to be when things play out in 23, 24. I think many false ideas, many stuff from alternative media will be reconsidered, and the people will have to reconsider the way they think, the way they perceive about the world. So I hope I just gave you a perspective of things. I telling you what's coming after the destruction phase. I'm telling you that there is some kind of logic. I think all this makes sense. It's connected. So I see this is not the end of humanity. I see it's a crisis point, but I see lots of good things emerging from this crisis, because I think at the end we have to focus on building something new. We have to focus on kids, because they are the future. And I see all this building up enthusiasm and wanting to reform and change things, change the world for better to come, and to start to this building enthusiasm will come back from 2025. So I think there are many good things coming, and even earlier than what we expect. Yes, this energy crisis, is definite. There is no going back. So we won't have again oil. We won't have this kind of comfort lifestyle that we had before, the way we grew up. But we live in a new environment. I see more positives than negatives if you're willing to adapt. And this somehow reminds me, after World War II, many people died. It has been very tragic. But after World War II, people were poor. They had less tools than nowadays. They didn't have the internet, but there was a big optimism. There was a big will of people wanting to rebuild. I know many stories of people, they were working for free, like repairing, building roads, or doing anything for the community for free, because they had the enthusiasm wanting to rebuild something new. And all this because they wanted to put an end, about World War II. They wanted to put an end. They said we shouldn't repeat anymore this mistake. So we have to give our kids a better future. We shouldn't repeat this mistake of killing each other because of ideologies or nationality. So I hope this discussion makes sense. I want people to focus more about this new cycle of 2025, 2026 coming, because I think we should stop thinking about destruction. In the sense, I acknowledge that it's bad, and but we have to focus now on building the new. We have to focus on kids, because that's really the future, and all we want is a better future for us. But also we have to think about society, and especially kids. Well, I think historically speaking, the example of the Luddites during the Industrial Revolutions, that was, we laugh at them now when we read the textbooks of, I think the leader of the Luddites was called Ned the Lud. So we laugh at it because we live in different times, but if you try to think and empathize with the people back then, the changes coming, like rural people hearing about these plans of people massing in cities and working in a factory. Like if you empathize with them, you feel like it's like what we're doing now when hearing about certain keywords like a new world order or whatever economic programs are coming. Time will tell. But basically Luddites, they were concerned that people were getting, like humanity was going to regress because technology was going to impact the health and society, and that it was basically the end of mankind, or the path to end of mankind. So I think that's a good example to ponder on. I'm not saying again that whatever is coming is good, or it's going to be for the good of everything. It's just about change. So we just have to be open-minded to it. I agree we don't have to ignore things, as you said, like to ignore stuff happening, whether if it's a genocide or if it's some kind of change. We think it's wrong. We shouldn't shut up and just pretend nothing happened. But again, I say we really didn't see. In my personal opinion, I don't see clear evidence of any big wrongdoing happened yet. But I think you're aware I'm very open-minded, and it's not that I'm not. I don't think I'm ignoring things. I think I've considered them. I try to look at them from many points of view, and there is a reason for why I maybe disagree now. But I'm open-minded, and anyway, I think I sense that around January that it's going to be clue of it will give answers to what was COVID, what was the vaccine, what's coming next. So anyway, now it's October. If I'm right, we can wait 2 more months. It's all these years have been quite, tiring for me to overthink too much. I don't think that has given me any real benefits. And not, again, I repeat it, this is not because I want to stay in ignorance. I think because maybe we're still not ready to hear about the truth. So I think this is really reversible now with this next TM. There are many elements of things having been planned. So also I may think that not necessarily, let's say if January there's big event happens, whatever it is, doesn't mean that people will die necessarily, doesn't mean that that there is depopulation, but for sure, let's, at least from our point of view, there will be more information, hopefully more quality information to judge about what's coming next. Okay. Anyway, I look forward to the next discussion with you. Okay. Maybe something which I forgot to mention in my previous talk about the Pluto return and the energy crisis is that I was expecting for early 2022 to have a ready deflationary effect because of Pluto going on that spot relating to the U.S. independence charge. So the Pluto return for the US, which is connected to the petrodollar. So I in the past I had given my prediction based on that, and for 2022, basically we didn't see this deflation effect. It was inflationary, but again, I had said that we have inflation instead of deflation because of the ignorance and the confusion from even top people in Wall Street, they don't understand how the energy market works. They think that oil crisis, energy crisis means the price have to go up. But again, it's all about the real energy crisis means on the contrary, prices will go down because of the thermodynamic oil collapse. So it's purely mega deflationary. So this explains why my prediction of deflation for early 2022 didn't pan out. It went the opposite way, but again, doesn't mean that I was wrong. And also from an astrological perspective, this makes sense also because Pluto is a slow planet. The first Pluto return happened around February 2022. But Pluto also went retrograde from somewhere in spring. It went back to a few degrees prior to that Pluto return. So now Pluto return will play again in around the end of December. So I think it will play out in the same position of the U.S. independence chart, and it won't go back anymore. So this is the last time Pluto will go through that point. And I believe my theory is that the real deflationary force tied to oil and petrodollar will play out definitely. So, as I said, I expect after Christmas more. It will have a bigger effect from January, but again, this doesn't mean that the financial system is collapsing in January. That's the theory, and I think it's a process. So again, I think we will start to see the emergence of something new, some new signs of this TM, of this new effect going to play out. So I don't know really how much time things will develop. All I can say, something new is coming. We have to pay attention around January if there are some kind of shifts or in language from the media or something new is coming. It's very hard to say exactly, but I think I gave you a very specific time window to pay attention. I told you where to look at things, at least for where the fundamental changes are happening. But then again, as I've said, I suspect that there is some kind of media operation going to confuse people, and maybe there is going to be some false flag event. I don't know really what the news will talk about. And honestly, I don't want to even waste any more time speculating what the media will say. All that it matters is the fundamental dynamics going, and just be conscious about that. And again, things most likely won't play exactly as I've said. Maybe we won't even have a total financial collapse. But all I can do is make educated guesses, and I gave you a certain time frame. I think I'm doing a good job, but that's all I can do. So good luck.